Caching with kids, creative evil hides, and a podcaster's fresh take, ShadowDragn brings it all. From swag-first strategies to welded goats and 3D bluebirds, Amie shows how to make the game your own. Let's dive in. Welcome to Cache Like a Girl, the podcast where we celebrate the incredible stories of women geocachers. I'm Lookout Lisa, founder of Cache Advance and the Cache Crate, and a passionate geocacher since 2002. In each episode, you'll find inspiration to fuel your geocaching adventures. Let's cache like a girl and make our mark on the map. Well, welcome to Cache Like a Girl, Amie. I have a guest today, Amie, ShadowDragn1, joining us, and we're going to talk all about podcasting and geocaching like a girl. So I guess, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you here. And ShadowDragn1 is your caching name. Can you tell us, how did you get that name?
Okay, so that is one of those relics from back in like my middle school days where we started doing, I think I really started getting to use the internet a lot more when I was like in sixth grade or something, and you had to have a username for stuff. And when you're, 12 years old, you're just trying to think of something that sounds cool. And I always liked dragons, so we were just like, me and my friend were trying to come up with dragon names, and I went with ShadowDragn, and it was taken. So I took the O out of dragon, and it was taken. So I put a 1 behind it, and it worked. And it's just always seems to have been available every time I needed a username. So it has just stuck around ever since.
I can quite relate to that. Yeah, Lookout Lisa is something that nobody else uses but me. So thankfully, yeah, I've been able to use it all over the place. So awesome. So when did you start geocaching?
So it's interesting because when I first heard about geocaching, I made an account for it, but I didn't start doing anything with it till 5 years after I signed up for it. So I signed up for it in 2014. My son was a couple months old. A friend at work had told me about it. My son was a couple months old at the time. I was trying to think of ways to get out of the house, but the area we were at, it was all more kind of wooded geocaches at the time. So it was a little hard to take a stroller off-road. At least the stroller we had didn't really go off-road, and my husband was not interested in it. So I just didn't do anything with it. And then when he was 5 and I was looking for some new activities for us to do, I remembered geocaching, and my account was still working. So it's like there was so many in our area, like at the park and places that I could take him. And so he was very into secrets at the time. And of course, at 5 years old, his secret was, Mommy, I have a secret. I love Daddy, but don't tell him. Or I have a secret. I love Reese's peanut butter cups, but don't tell anybody. But you can tell Daddy and you can tell Grandma. And, it was just, he didn't really get the concept of a secret, but he liked that idea of a secret.
Yeah.
So I told him we were going to go find secret treasures. And that really hooked him into it at the time. So it gave us something to do, kind of like we could be out running errands and we could go get a little secret treasure while we had to stop at CVS and pick up prescriptions or whatever. And that's how it got started. And I've been enjoying it ever since.
Well, that's awesome. So do you remember the first cache that you found?
The very first one I found, which is now archived, it was at the park, and the name was a play on words. It had something to do with dock, because there's a little fishing dock there. And I was really struggling. It was like a little magnetic key box that ended up being on part of the dock. And I was really struggling because, one, it was my first one. I'm trying to keep my 5-year-old out of the water. He wants to go run off to the playground. I'm trying to figure this out. And I started reading through everybody's, what I thought were comments, which were the find logs, and figured out that where the coordinates were posted, was actually on the opposite side of the dock from where it actually was.
Okay.
And then we were able to find it. So I was like feeling like a real big failure at first because it's like, it was rated like a 1.5, 1.5. Like this should have been really easy to go find. But I had no idea what I was doing.
One.
So it felt really...
Right? Yeah, that first one, we have no idea what we're really looking for.
Yeah.
So many of us have a preconceived notion of what the cache is going to be. You know, a special box with a big light on it that's blinking.
Yeah, right?
Under a bush or something like that. And, you know, we can be so surprised by, like you said, a small key box that was not exactly where you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you cache a lot with your son. Do you have any tips for caching with kids?
Well, something that I discovered with him, and I learned it the hard way, you know, we would stop and get all these little park and grabs and stuff on light post caches and stuff, and he was not enjoying that. And I soon discovered, okay, all these micros aren't giving him anything, especially at that younger age. He liked the ones where we could go trade swag. So then I started targeting, when I had him with me, targeting larger caches where we could trade swag and he could get something and leave something. And the cases where there maybe wasn't any swag in those larger caches, I just let him pick something out of my bag of goodies. And that made him happy at the time. And then we leave some extra for the next person.
Sure.
And then I also with him, and even still at his current age, you know, he's got a limit. He'll only get so many and then he's just done. Like I could cache all afternoon and be happy. But, you know, I know with him, I'm only going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 at most, depending on what's going on. So if I push it too hard, he's burnt out and doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. So your number one tip would be ideally look for at the smallest small-sized geocaches, regular ones that will have swag in them.
Yes.
For trading. Bring your own swag to trade just in case. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then,
yeah.
Yeah. And then don't make them cache too long. So because then it becomes no fun, right?
Absolutely. And I also found like with adventure labs and stuff that took us to meet locations someplace different, that was like a little adventure in itself because we got to go someplace new and experience something new too, where I still got to get that smiley geocache.
Right. But unfortunately nothing to open, but still a new adventure.
Right.
So that's great. Yeah. Yeah. So how old is he now?
He's 10 now.
Okay. So still in that range where he's going to be enjoying it for a while.
Still in that range. He usually more once is interested in doing it when we take vacations and trips. And, you know, I scout out ahead of time high favorite point ones to do with him that are going to be something different. And he's really enjoyed those. He has his own account now and he likes when it pops up and he gets his own souvenir for different days or states and stuff. And so it's a new element for him. And then he also, because, you know, with this generation, who doesn't love their phones and technology, but they just really, they get it at school, they get it at home, and they just are really used to that. And so now I'd have a second cell phone that he can use and he can navigate on his own. And I still have mine. I'd be like, you're going the wrong direction, or, you know, kind of help guide him a little bit, but let him try to do more of the navigating. And he enjoys getting to have the phone and kind of get to be in charge, getting to help direct us to where we're going.
No, absolutely. That's great. So he's learning skills on app use and navigation and all of that involved. So fantastic. Cool. So have you guys hidden any caches?
I have hidden a couple. The very first one I had was just a magnetic key box at a park. And after the third time that went missing, I archived that one because I'm like, let's just, you know, it was just too. And the funny thing was, that park was not a park that was frequented that much. It didn't have that much activity. So it's a small park that's actually part of the Lions Club my husband is a member of.
Okay.
So it's kind of tucked back out of the way. It's not as well traveled as the city and county parks are typically. So to go missing 3 times in those, I don't remember if it was a year and a half, I thought was surprising because there's not a lot of people traffic through there. So at that point, I just archived that one. But I have another cache out. I have some Adventure Labs out, and I have 2 physical caches out currently. And my physical caches, I try to make them more creative, like the type I'd like to find. So I have one that's called Super Goaty Goat. I let my son name it. And originally it was just a box. But we ended up giving Super Goaty Goat an upgrade. We found a metal toolbox, like I think like a circular saw used to fit in it or something.
Okay.
So we found that at a resale store, and like some roof runners for the support boards. And my husband welded those to the box, and he cut out the shape of a goat head and welded it together. We spray painted it black and made it look like a goat.
Wow.
So fortunately, he has the skills to help me do that kind of stuff. And then we have a 3D printer, so I have another one called the Bluebird where we wove a nest and then 3D printed a bluebird and 3D printed an egg, and the log is inside the egg.
Wow.
Just to have something more creative. There's a lot of the ones around us are, they're the smaller bison tubes or they're the magnetic ones. There are some creative hides around here, but not as many. So I've been trying, when I do hide a physical cache, I try to put some more creative aspect into it because those are the ones I love to find, the ones my kid loves to find, and I know others will enjoy that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I always try to hide something that I would like to find, for sure. Although I'm not all that picky, I enjoy finding all different types of caches.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can be happy just grabbing a pill bottle from a lamppost, and have, calling it a day. I got my smiley, I got a souvenir or whatever. I just got to find a geocache and I'm happy. But when I take my kid, it's harder to get him interested in stuff if there's not some kind of wow factor to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, there's no reason why we can't, when we are able to really up our game on the different type of caches that we're hiding. So, let everybody else have that wow, experience, that special aha when they find it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So now you and I have met basically through podcasting.
Yes.
Yeah. You had me on your show a while back, and that was season 5, episode 17 of Geocache Adventures.
Yes.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. So what drew you into podcasting, and why do you keep on doing it?
So I've enjoyed podcasts for a long time. Listen to them all the time when I'm working, cleaning around the house, doing different things. I do not like silence. I need to have some kind of noise. Audiobooks, podcasts, music, I have to have something going on.
Yeah.
And podcasts are really interesting because, and audiobooks are similar, but podcasts, you have such a variety of topics and fiction versus nonfiction topics and opinion topics. And, there's a lot of variety to them. My podcast playlist is very diversified, from science to conspiracy theories to geocaching, haunted history, just whatever. There's a lot of interesting podcasts out there. And I had just been playing around with the idea of, it'd be neat to start a podcast. It sounded like something fun to do. And I thought if I come up with something and do 10 episodes and see how it goes. And I spent a lot of time trying to decide what would I do a podcast on. Because, it's, what are you going to podcast about? That's your biggest part, is figuring out what you're podcasting about. And there weren't a lot of geocaching podcasts that, I mean, you have a few big main ones and they're still going, but a lot of the geocaching podcasts that I had found, they lasted a season or so and they, fizzled out and they're still out there, but they're not putting out any new content. And I thought, oh, that might be fun to do and be a fun way to learn more about geocaching at the same time. So I started podcasting about geocaching. And when I first started the podcast, it was just me. It was very scripted. I think I spent over 2 hours putting that first podcast together, and I think it was like maybe 7 minutes long. Yeah. Like it was very short. It was very short. But I put it out there, and I was like, I did the work. Let's see what happens. And people listened to it. It was like, oh my gosh, you just listened to me. Like 10, 12 people were listening to it. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody actually listens to this, me rambling on about things. And so I kept going, and it was fun to do. And I thought, well, I can't just like keep doing this the way I'm doing it, because it's getting scripting it and trying to edit it perfectly is not working for what I'm doing, and just kind of evolved it on what felt right, felt natural, and what felt interesting to me, and started having guests on the podcast. And that's what really has kept me going, is because those interviews, those conversations with other geocachers pull me in. That is so much fun for me to have another geocacher and discuss some topic and learn about it. It's like I have so much fun having those conversations. So that is what has kept me going with the podcast at this point. So it's been interesting. I have made some friends over this who I met originally just because of this podcast, of reaching out and saying, hey, listen to your podcast, we enjoy it. Or reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I'm looking to talk about this topic and your name got thrown out there on Facebook, or somebody reaching out to me with would you be interested in discussing this topic? Yeah. And I have made friendships out of that. It's been very interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, through my business of being, in geocaching and just getting started with the podcasting part, but I've made so many friends. Even met my husband through geocaching, and my community really is geocachers. I still have Muggle friends, but they understand.
Yeah,
they know they're Muggle friends, right? That's great. So how long have you been podcasting? Is it 5 years? Is it a season a year?
So this is the 5th season. I started on season 1 my first year. So March will actually be 5 years that I've been doing it. So January will start season 6 and March will be 5 years.
Yeah, I can't wait for next season coming out.
Yes, it's going to be a little different.
Yeah. So you'd mentioned that it's going to be a little different. So what's going to be different going forward?
So going forward, because I was experiencing some burnout, because I've created a lot of work for myself and just got to where I still enjoyed the conversations, but I didn't want to deal with the editing and the posting and all the other stuff. And it was going back, and I had worked from home for the last 4 years, and I'm back in the office now. So that really kind of changed time allotment and having to figure out how to rebalance everything. This is, I had to drive again. There was an hour of my day back to commuting and, round trips and, all that.
More time to listen to podcasts.
Yeah, more time to listen to stuff. But yeah, it's just like you kind of had to figure out how to rebalance it all. And it was getting harder to schedule interviews. So this season was shorter because I just threw up a bunch of rewarns for the last couple of months to let it finish out because I just couldn't handle it. And I said, if I don't do something different, I'm not going to do this anymore. So I have decided what it's going to be. Instead of doing it every 2 weeks, it's going to be twice a month. One will be a full-length interview like I've done before, And then the other one will be what I call a mini adventure. So it's going to be a shorter 5-10 minutes. There's a lot of geocaching topics out there that aren't really big enough for a long-term podcast format or for a full interview format, however you want to call it. But they're interesting, whether it's looking at just like, for example, you have geocaches in the middle of the ocean. Geocaches in the middle of the ocean, like, which is crazy. And I have reached out to the people who placed them, but I don't even know if they're still active in the geocaching community because they don't respond back. But it's something they'd like to highlight. But I can't do a long format interview. What I have to do, you can tell me about why they did it or any of that stuff. You know,
but you want to draw interest to it.
Yeah, so there's some smaller things like people do a 365-day streak, which is interesting topic. Not everybody wants to talk about it for 40 minutes if they did it or something. So, you can just make it aware that this is a thing out there, that, different types of streaks people like to do and kind of talk about that. And then you can always later have longer interview formats if you can find somebody that wants to come on the podcast and talk about it. So it's just a way to kind of explore some different smaller chunks.
Yeah.
And, bring interest to things, and maybe some of them might turn into bigger, longer formats later. But so there'll be a long-term format once a month and then a mini adventure once a month. Instead of,
I love that.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little different, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So one full-length interview or topic.
Yeah.
And then the smaller ones there. I think that's great because sometimes, I've listened to podcasts, geocaching or not, and they're like, okay, they really have covered the topic, and now they're just talking.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for something more. Is there going to be some other nugget coming up that is really gonna, be something valuable to me? And maybe it's not. So maybe that should have been a shorter version. So I think you've nailed a great way going forward for your podcast of geocaching adventures.
No, thank you. Because sometimes you just want to highlight something, like a book or a tool of the trade that maybe you've discovered.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't necessarily need a full 20, 30, however long to talk about it. So having this little short option, a little mini adventure to highlight that or share that, and I think makes more sense than trying to force it to be something longer.
Absolutely. Yeah. A full-length topic that we're done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Got it. That's a wrap. Yeah. Awesome. So, let's see. So what's on your geocaching? I'm going to change topics just a little bit. Go back to just geocaching. So what's on your bucket list for a geocache?
Oh, my bucket list. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, there are some locations I'd like to go check out that I know there are geocaches at. Sometimes I see places on TV shows and stuff, and I look it up, and there's a geocache there. So it'd be really cool to go see that and get the geocache that's there. Like one of them is on Route 66. There's a giant blue whale off Route 66, like this big blue whale statue thing. And there's a geocache there last time I looked it up. Just stuff like that would be neat to do. It's like, it's kind of a Q4 bucket list. Like I want to go see these things, and hey, while I'm there, I might as well get that smiley that's right there while I'm at it, right? So.
Right. Absolutely.
I would like to eventually get all 50 states, if possibly, but, that's...
Yeah. How close are you?
Not as close as I'd like to be.
Okay.
I think I'm at 12 right now.
Okay.
So not bad, but yeah.
Yeah.
Still,
It took me 20 years, so it's okay.
still a lot to go, but I've managed to get more than I would have. I mean, if 10 years ago, just trying to do some of these trips, we wouldn't have been able to do it anyways. And then now, we're at a point in our life we're able to do, every couple of years we take a bigger family vacation and we're driving. So we're able to pick up the states and stuff. And that's what's been allowing me to get, those states that I did pick up. So we worked on one drive, I think it was to Tennessee, and there's a very small corner of Arkansas that you happen to drive through while you're driving across Missouri. And I told my husband, we have to stop at this rest stop. He's like, we just stopped 10 minutes ago. I was like, no, there's a geocache there. I'm getting Arkansas here on this trip. He's like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Geocaching always takes us to places, if we were just traveling through, we would never have stopped.
Right.
But, we see that, yeah, I can get this cache that will help me fulfill some challenge, or I see there's, 300 favorite points. We got to go check this out. And it's going to take you somewhere really cool. So what's the coolest place that you've been to that geocaching has taken you?
Oh, that's a good question. One of the coolest things we went to, and I found out about it because of geocaching, and it's in Memphis, and I think it's called Crystal Caverns or Crystal Caves. It's this big cave. It's actually, you go to a cemetery, and it's this big cave inside the cemetery, and you go in, and they have, all the stalactites and stalagmites lit up with lights, and then they have, there's some religious statue, like little scenes depicted of, Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus and stuff in there. But it's a really neat cave. And the whole reason I heard about it was because somebody told me they found a geocache there, because it's or I don't remember. I think it was a virtual cache. This place is a virtual cache. And I was like, oh, that would be really super cool to go to. And we were talking about going to Louisiana to do some stuff down there for a trip. And I was like, oh, why don't we go? Memphis is about halfway for us. Spend a few days in Memphis and go check out this really cool thing I heard about. Or no, why we happen to be there.
That's awesome. And you got the smile.
I got the smiley out.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. There's some amazing caves for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Geocaching has taken me to quite a few that have been really interesting. So cool. If there's one thing you could change about geocaching, what would you change?
Oh, I like that. And less micros, at least for my area. A few less micros and a few more of the larger ones. It's hard to find places to drop off trackables.
Yes.
So, yeah, it'd be nice to have a few more options for that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there were a few more webcam caches, because those are really neat. I've gotten to do one in Indiana, which was really cool. And my son thought that was awesome, getting to do the webcam cache, pulling it up on our phone and seeing it. He thought that was really cool. So I wish there were a few more of those around to get to go do those, because that was really neat.
Yeah. I was so sad when I had to archive mine. Because I actually owned a webcam cache way back in the day, but they're hard to maintain.
They are.
You don't control it.
Yeah. I mean, I get why it's kind of turned the way that it has, but I wish there were a few more.
Right? Yeah, I'm with you, but maybe we can have ring caches.
Something.
Doorbell caches or something.
Oh, that'd be funny. There's a thought.
I'll have to, see if, see we can do
workshop that one a little bit.
Yeah, it needs some more work for sure.
Yeah.
So is there something unusual that you carry in your geocaching bag?
I don't know how unusual it is, but my mom got me, because she's always, moms worry about their kids no matter how old they are. And she would always worry about me if I was out caching by myself. So she got me this little, like on the car fobs where you can hit the panic button? It's a little box like that sets off like a really loud, crazy alarm, like panic alarm. And got a little, I've never used it. I got a little flashlight, but I have it. Makes her feel better that I have it with me. But I don't go caching any place where I don't feel safe to be. So, that's kind of like rule number one. If I'm by myself and don't feel safe, I'm not staying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But it's nice to know that you've got that along. So
yes.
That's unique for sure.
It's different. Yeah. And well, we have, there's different apps, but we use the Life 360 app now. And so they can, my mom can keep track of me when I'm out by myself. And, my husband can too, but I don't think he worries quite as much as my mom kind of thinks I can take care of myself.
Well, that's great. Yeah. But yeah, that's a mother's job,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me right into my next question that I wanted to ask you was, as a woman in the community, have you encountered any unique experiences or any perspectives that you'd like to share?
That's a good question. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
So I thankfully have only had positive experiences while geocaching and with meeting people, which is, big plus for me because the world we live in, it can be scary in places. You're always hearing about it. I don't know if it's the world's actually changed or just how we hear of stuff and how often we hear of stuff has changed. Hard to say. But, there's always that risk when you go meet a bunch of strangers that, something could happen. But, I think, and my mom was definitely not happy that she was a bit panicked that I did this, I think. But I ended up, one of the friends that I made through podcasting and online and Facebook through geocaching, he lives in Illinois, Farkin. I'm here in Missouri. He and his daughter were going to be in Hannibal and said, hey, do you want to meet up with us and go geocaching for the day? And I said, absolutely, let's do it. And I told my mom, I told my husband, he's like, okay. I said, you have no problem with that? He goes, it's no different than me driving 2 hours to meet some random person to buy a lawnmower. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I've probably talked to him more than the people you buy lawnmowers from, so we're good. And my mom was like, you're doing what? You're meeting some random guy from the internet? It's like every mother's worst fear. It's like, no, it's not as bad as it sounds, Mom. It's really not as bad as... But we had a great time. It was a good day. We had a great time, and we've met a couple times since then. My husband's met him. We, Lee and I always have a good time when we get together, and whether it's online talking or, the couple times we've got to get together in person. But yeah, it was just an interesting experience with trying to make my mom feel okay about it.
Yeah.
But like, no, it's okay, Mom, I swear. She's like, you're me, some random guy from the internet. I'm like, no, not exactly, but I can see how you may perceive it. Oh, babies.
Right, yeah. So vet your, strangers that you're meeting, potentially. And geocaching allows you to do that. You've got a geocaching history.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard it, I forget who it was that said it. But I've heard it described. I want to say it was Derek from Behind the Cache say it. I could be wrong, but I think it was him that said to me, it's the one hobby you can meet people at 3 a.m. out the desert to go geocache and not worry about dying.
Right?
Or something along those lines. It was like, just meet up with a bunch of strangers, go out geocaching, not worry about not coming home at the end of the day, basically. And
yeah, just hop into a stranger's car and take off for 3 hours.
Right.
And generally you're going to be coming back home just fine.
Yeah, which is like with any other situation, there's no way I would do that. Oh, geocaching? Sure, why not? Like, yeah, it's interesting how that makes it okay, but it does for some reason.
It generally does. Yeah. I've yet to, I'm sure they might be out there. So I don't want to caution everybody,
Oh,
just
yes.
to jump in with anybody. You know, trust your gut. But generally, I have never had a problem either. And I've just met complete strangers and, hey, it's going to be a lot easier. We're going to the same caches. Let's just, carpool, not carpool or caravan or what have you. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we
But
have,
I like that you've got that. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
I was going to say, we have this, community that they built of these events for people to
Mhm.
meet up and do
Yes.
exactly like that. And it's kind of built that culture. And it's the
Mhm.
only hobby or game or sport or whatever you want to call it. I guess Munsey's kind of doing it too, where you have that culture of just meeting up with a bunch of random people to go do your hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We do have geocache events, and so that's a great way to meet people and learn about, hey, I've, been thinking about going geocaching with Joe. Tell me about Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Joe
it almost
GPS1
seems
or
like
something.
inevitably somebody
Mhm.
knows the person you're talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then you can meet them at an event and get a group together and find out, is our caching style gonna jive, and are we gonna have some fun together out geocaching? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you've got that other app that you use. So you let other people know where you are and they can track you as well. So that gives you an extra, a little bit of security, especially for your mom. Gives
Yes.
her a sense of relief
Yes. And, and
for sure.
if I do, go out to one of the state parks or the conservation area
Mhm.
and I get hurt or something and they can see where I'm at and
Mhm.
find me. I always make sure if I am going alone, I always make sure somebody knows where I'm going. Hey, going caching at this park. I'll let you know when I'm home.
Yeah.
Just, just very basic,
Mm-hmm.
very like first rule of safety, make sure somebody knows where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. At the very least, leave a note in your car. But yeah, let somebody know for sure.
Yeah.
And that goes with everything that we do, really, when we're, going off the beaten path.
Yeah. I mean, whether you're hiking by yourself or bike riding or,
Yeah.
you know, even just driving on the highway in winter. Oh, I'm going to go drive an hour over this way to go do something. Well, maybe tell somebody in case your car goes off the road because you hit ice or something. Just, in this
Oh, yeah,
day and age,
absolutely.
it's so easy to just send a text and say, hey, I'm going here. Be back in a couple hours or something, just so somebody knows where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. And we can even have our geocaching friends be those people that we connect with too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they might want to join you.
Yeah. Well,
That'd be a great
I like
adventure.
geocaching with other people. It's definitely a lot of fun. But I also enjoy doing it by myself as a way of like self-care.
Yes.
That me time that I need to just be by myself and enjoy whatever I want to do by myself, because we all need some of that time too.
Mhm.
So it can be all of that. It can be family time. It can be me time. It can be time with friends. It is an activity that you can do so many ways, and it's wonderful that way.
Yeah, no, I love how you said that. It's absolutely right. We do need that time, and geocaching is the perfect way because we get outside in nature. It's focused. So, we can forget about our worries for a little bit and maybe come back to them with a better perspective, or our plans or our hopes and goals and dreams as well. And then, yeah, we can also do it with friends, new friends and old friends and family for sure. So
Yeah.
cool.
Or your pets even, they like to
Oh,
go for
yeah.
walks and stuff, little adventures with them and get them out.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
so many ways to enjoy it.
for sure. Yeah. When I had my dog, my border collie, she was my best muggle cover ever.
But
Oh, don't mind us. We're just nosing around the bushes.
yeah, like, oh, got take the dog over here and clean up its business. And really, you're leaning down and grabbing a geocache out of the bush. And
Mm-hmm.
it's great cover.
Absolutely works great. Awesome, Amie. Well, it's been so much fun chatting with you again. So where can people find you on for your podcast or any other ways that if they'd like to reach out and connect with you, what's the best way to find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Geocache Adventures. There's a page there. They can message. Also a Facebook group you can drop in, and I check that out regularly. Geocacheadventures.org is the website. And then the podcast should be pretty much on all the podcasting platforms that they can find. And I do have it on YouTube if you need subtitles, closed captioning for hearing issues. That might be becoming a video. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. So right now it's just literally the audio, and then you have the transcript with it there. So
yeah, that works great.
Yeah.
I like how you mentioned that for hard of hearing folks or differently able or deaf or what have you, so that you got the captions as well.
Yes.
So cool. Great. Good. Well, thank you again for taking time out of your day. Is there any last thing that you'd like to share about geocaching or anything?
Just that with geocaching, as much fun as it is, and we all have, our little niches that we like to stay in, but I recommend trying something new in the geocaching world at times when you can, because you might discover something that you really love that you didn't really realize was part of the game.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Let's get out of our typical day-to-day caching or weekend to weekend.
Yeah.
Try doing where I go if you haven't ever done one of those.
Yeah. Different cache type, host a first event, go to an event, something, just, try all the different aspects, because you might find something else that you enjoy as part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Let's challenge everybody to try something new. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Amie, so much for being on the Cache Like a Girl podcast. And we will see you hopefully out on the trail soon.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I loved it. All right, take care.
You too. Thank you.
Stay tuned for our next episode soon.